Good morning, student. Today we are going to learn chapter number 3 of economics, that is poverty as challenge. In this chapter we will learn who are poor, what are the causes of poor condition in society, and what measures can be taken up so that poverty can be reduced. So we are going to learn all this thing. So let me begin with this introduction. When we talk about poverty, poor people, we only think of beggar on the road. But they are not only the poor people in our society. In our daily life, we come across many people who we think are poor. So it could be a laborer, a farm worker, a women worker, a child worker. That means that many people are poor in our society. And then they could be beggar with children in tatters. We see poverty all around us. In fact, every fourth person in India is poor. Poverty is a worldwide challenge. However, the problem is more severe in India. Nearly 25% of the entire population live in poverty. This means that roughly 260 million, or we can say 26 crore people in India are in poverty. So this poverty, which is largest in our country, poverty is largest in our country as compared to other countries of the world. And this illustrates the seriousness of the challenge. We can discuss this poverty in urban and in rural. So not all people live in city are rich and not all people live in rural are poor. Poverty exists both in urban and rural area. So we will learn two different cases of poverty condition in urban and in rural. Here I have a picture of urban case. Many poor people are engaged in various activities. Some are working as a domestic helper, some are working as a daily wages, some are working in a factory like that. So let's learn the story of Ram Saran, who live in city. So 33-year-old Ram Saran worked as a daily wage worker in a wheat flour mill near Ranchi in Jharkhand. He managed to earn around rupees 1,500 a month when he finds employment. That means when he don't find employment, then he don't get this 1,500 rupees also. The money is not enough to sustain a family of 6 members, he himself, his wife and 4 children. And he has to send money in his home also, where his parents live, and name of the village is Ramgarh. Ramsaran lives in one room rented house. 6 members live in one room rented house, which is very crowded settlement in the outskirt part of the city. His wife Santa Devi works as a part-time maid in a few houses and managed to earn another rupees 800. So 1,500 plus 800. So total is 2,300. So they manage a merge milk of dal and rice twice a day. but it's never enough for all of them. His elder son also worked as a helper in a tea shop and earned another rupees 300. His 10 years old daughter take care of the younger siblings. So none of the children go to school and have only 2 pairs of second-hand clothes. Shoes are a luxury for them. So children have no medical care facilities when they fall ill, as they don't have money to afford these facilities of education and treatment when they fall ill. They don't get such facilities. And I have another case of rural area. As you can see in the picture, people engage in the field and people work mostly in the field, agricultural field, and they work like in rearing of cattle and some domestic activities, collecting of food fodders. That are the main economic activities of people in rural areas. So let's learn in detail with this case study of the story of Lakha Singh. Lakha Singh belongs to a small village near Meerut in Uttar Pradesh. His family doesn't own any land, so they do odd job for the big farmers. They depend on big farmers to earn some income for their livelihood. At times, they get paid rupees 50 for a hard day's work. They have to work whole long day and earn only 50 rupees. The family of 8 cannot always manage 2 square meals a day. So this income is not enough to have even 2 meals of a day. They live in kacha hut in the outskirts of the village. The women of the family spend the day chopping fodder and collecting firewood in the fields. That is how women are also helping in running the family. They collect fodder for the cattle and firewood for the family. So he had to start earning in a very young age, that is 10 years old. His father, a TB patient, passed away 2 years ago due to lack of medication. His mother now suffers from the same disease and life is slowly ebbing away. So they can't afford medical facilities as they don't have money. Although the village has a primary school, Lakha never went there. He started earning when, as I said, at the age of 10. New clothes are brought once in a few years, and even soap and oil are a luxury item for the family. So, what do we learn from these 2 case studies of urban and rural? So, they show that poverty means hunger and lack of shelter. And poverty also means lack of clean water and sanitation facilities. They cannot have health care in case of illness and have to, they don't have any regular job for the income. There is also lack of sanitation and safe drinking water. Here is no education for the children who work as child laborer. So there is helplessness about life. This is what we learn from the 2 case studies. And poor people are in a situation in which they are ill-treated and almost every place. It also means lack of a regular job at a minimum decent level. Then, these are the things we learn from the 2 case study, that what is the real condition of poor people in rural and in urban areas. So we have seen the common condition both in urban and rural area. So let's move on the next topic, poverty as seen by social scientists. How poverty is seen by the social scientists. Poverty is looked through other social indicators like illiteracy level, lack of general resistance due to malnutrition, lack of access to healthcare, lack of job opportunities, lack of access to safe drinking water, and sanitation. So these are some of the indicators of poverty. Then, analysis of poverty based on the social exclusion and vulnerability is now becoming very common. So, social scientists, as we know, use different indicators of poverty, and social scientists use two concepts, that is, the first one is social exclusion and the second one is vulnerability. So let's see in detail. You can see the in the other side, in the right side of the screen, you can see poverty ratio and number of poor in million. So you can have a clear idea with the help of this. So next we have, what is this social exclusion? Let's see the concept of the social exclusion. The concept of social exclusion states that poor have to live in poor surrounding. These excluded poor people were excluded from enjoying social equality of better off people in better surrounding. So this is the concept of social exclusion. And next concept is about the vulnerability. Vulnerability to poverty, that means more chances to become poverty. This one describes the greater probability of certain communities. So certain communities have greater probability to become poor people, like member of backward classes, individual like a widow, physically handicapped person, and children belong to lower caste. This certain section of people have more chances to become poor people. So this is the idea of the concept of vulnerability. And here we have the chart of poverty ratio of India in 2000. Most vulnerable groups, scheduled tribe, have the highest chance to become this poor people, 51. You can see after that urban casual laborer who don't have regular job have very high chances to become poor, and rural agricultural labor who are also not having regular job, as there is work in the field, they have work, and after that they don't have work, so they have no regular job. So these people are also having more chances to become poor, and same as that scheduled caste. And after that we have average Indian poverty ratio 26. So here we know who have greater chance to become poor. And with this I would like to end for today, and we will continue with the remaining topic in the next class. Thank you for joining.